The Fury of Firestorm, number 14, written and art by Dan Jurgens. Last issue we left off with Firestorm being attacked by some group of random super villains, and we saw that a shadowy man was ordering it to be done, and an even shadowier person was watching that man ordering it to be done. This issue picks up, and we immediately get the reveal of the first shadowy man. It turns out that the one who is ordering that Firestorm be attacked is Dr. Magala, who is the person that originally made Captain Atom, whose book just ended. So Dr. Magala's like, hey, okay, let me explain while I'm here. Captain Atom, super powerful, but he left because his book got canceled. So now I see that Firestorm's a thing who has similar-ish powers to Captain Atom, and I want to be in control of that because of some weird morality shift I had in between the books. So let's work on that. Now, he should probably still be alive under that rubble, so be ready for him. And of course, Firestorm pops back out of the rubble, and all the supervillains are like, oh no, we'll just take him down again. Here we go. But now Firestorm has the upper hand, and he's like, all right, well, this one person I can't attack directly because they could just absorb my stuff, so I'm just going to turn the floor into a gas, and they'll just fall down to the basement. One of them is only good because they have armor, so I'm going to change that into a fluffy bunny suit. And one of them has telekinesis, where I'm just going to change all the rocks they're throwing at me to pillows. And at that point, the telekinesis one, who also has a little bit of telepathy, is like, wait a minute, I sense that you're actually two people in one body. To which point Firestorm's like, well, I'm going to go hit her and knock her lights out, so that way she doesn't sense that we're both in here. Whap. And at that point, Jason's like, did you just beat up a girl? And it's like, she literally dumped the building on us. I feel like I'm justified there. So at that point, they're like, all right, start up the machine. We've got them right where we want them. And they turn on this thing called a quantum field. And it starts tearing apart Firestorm into Ronnie and Jason. And Magala's like, yes, there are both of them. What marvelous things this may mean. And Jason tells Ronnie, hey, you need to, make a massive energy surge right now and blow up the machine. And they're like, well, what about the people? What about the building? And he's just like, screw it, do it. So he blows up the building. They make their escape. And they're like, that was incredibly painful. We got to go. So they make their way back home. And Magala's like, well, get a track on them. Let's see what's up. So they go back and, separate, go back and do their own things in their own life. And we see Magala's getting the backstory of there are multiple Firestorms, and this is just one of many, and they're all playing different sides of the field and whatnot. And then we see Captain Atom on the moon is watching Magala say how he's the one who wants to take over Firestorm. So he's like, well, can't have you be doing that, you megalomaniacal dick. So then we cut to the next morning. General Eiling is there, and he is looking over the rubble of the building, and it's just like, so what were they doing here? And the little private's like, quantum stuff, sir. And it's like, okay, well, who did it? It's like, oh, well, reports are Firestorm. And it's like, all right, well, at least it wasn't. And then they look up, and there's Captain Atom, and it's like, crap, Captain Atom's back. Dang it, I hope I was done with him. So Ronnie overslept. He's late for school. He's got to turn in a report so that he's still on the football team. Jason stops him before he gets in the door, and they're like, hey, I also overslept. That quantum field was nothing to mess around with. Also, you shouldn't be using the girl I like to write your reports. And he's like, shut up. I literally don't care. Shut up. So at that point, they get to class. He turns in his report, and the girl seems more than happy to have helped. But, yeah, regardless, after school, Magala's putting forward all right, we found a way to finally capture him. We're going to send out that robot from the last issue, and he's going to just basically do the same thing again, but this time it'll work. So they send out the robot, and Jason gets home, and his dad is talking on the phone to Ronnie's mom, seeming like they're planning a date. And Jason, he's feeling awful, not only because him and Ronnie might be pulling a Drake and Josh soon, but also that the quantum field was tearing them apart. And Ronnie's like, hey, dude, I feel it too. We got to deal with this as Firestorm. So they merge back together, they fly off, and immediately the robot just shows up and attacks them. And it's like, whatever, I'll just try blasting it again. And they're like, that didn't work the last time, Ronnie. Why would it work this time? So it's like, all right, well, we'll go toe to toe. And as they move in closer to it, a bunch of tendrils come out and start absorbing him into the robot itself, which is then like basically a jail cell that he's unable to change any part of the robot, so he can't escape. So then Megala's in a chair and it's like, all right, activate the brain transfer. So you press a button, the big shoom happens, and Dr. Megala is now in control of the Firestorm body. And we're a bit unclear as to what happened to Jason and Ronnie's brains, if they're in Megala's body or not, but we'll see soon enough. But regardless, they cut back to Eiling, who is still, he's like, oh, yep, Captain Atom, of course you're here. And Captain Atom's like, well, I'm here to help, whether you like it or not. And that's where we leave off. So next issue, Captain Atom fighting Firestorm, but Firestorm's actually Megala, so this is just the sequel to Captain Atom now. Okay. I like the concepts of it, but I'm honestly, at this point, I think it was like 3 or 4 issues ago that they just decided like, yep, nope, we're just going to return Jason and Ronnie to their normal lives, and they're going to go to high school like normal. And I'm like, people died there. A lot of people that they were friends with died. I feel like you should not have them be in high school. I feel like they do kind of need to be on the out for a while. And I understand that first arc was kind of them doing that, but it just seems like they got into high school and are just like, oh, wow, Ronnie didn't write his report. That just happened way too quickly. So I kind of don't like that part of the story where it's, you know, oh, school troubles and girl troubles and are our parents going to be dating? It's like, you guys literally dealt with terrorism in a very bad way last time, and I feel like that should impact you a little bit more. But that's not fun, I guess. So, not much to be done there. Overall, though, I'm going to give this one I'll give it a 6. 6.5 almost, but it's not quite there. So, yeah, it's a fine, okay book, but it's not great, and it does definitely feel like it's not quite sure what it wants to do yet, but hopefully it'll find its footing.